So this is a little quiz because the menstrual cycle is so important. I will ask you a little bit about, let's say, estrogen. What does estrogen do? It repairs and maintains the uterus lining, correct? And what does it inhibit? Yes, as you can see, once it goes up, inhibits what? The release of LH and FSH. Where is estrogen produced? In the ovaries. Very good. Now let's go over to progesterone. What does that do? That maintains the lining of the uterus, as we can see. It's getting thicker here. Progesterone goes up. That means that has something to do with that. And where is progesterone produced? Yes, in the ovaries. Now let's continue to the FSH. What does FSH stand for? Follicle stimulating hormone. Very good. And that causes what? It causes the egg to mature. Where? In the ovary. It also stimulates the ovaries to release what? What hormone? Estrogen. Very good. Where is it produced? Where is FSH produced? Yes, it's not here. It's in the brain. It's where exactly? In the hypothalamus. And in where exactly in the hypothalamus? In the pituitary glands. Very good. So now let's go over to LH. What does this stand for? Luteinizing hormone. And LH stimulates what? Yes, the release of an egg. You remember FSH and LH, these are the two that we need at the beginning of the first cycle. What is the first cycle called? The follicular phase. How long is the follicular phase? 14 days. The second phase is called the luteal phase. How long is the luteal phase? Yes, also 14 days. What's in the middle of the two phases? Ovulation. What day does ovulation ideally occur? Day 14. Very good. And so we were back at the LH hormone. So that stimulates the release of an egg. Because that's what we need in the follicular phase. We need an egg. Follicular egg phase. Very good. So this is produced in the brain, the pituitary gland. Also, the follicular stimulating hormone is in the pituitary gland. So these two are produced in the pituitary gland, and the other two are produced in the ovaries, estrogen and progesterone, because these influence those two. So, but they kind of sit here, and the others, they are produced in the pituitary glands. Okay, now let's see. If we divide these phases again, so what do we have in day 1 until day 5? What do you think? What's this here? Yes, menstruation. Now, after day 5 until day 12, around there, what happens there? Building of the uterus lining. Yes, it's we need that in order to for the egg to feel home, to feel that this is a perfect home for the egg. So when is ovulation again? Around day 14, so that can be 12 to 15. So that's ovulation. That means this little follicle here from the ovaries, is gonna divide and so on, and then pops out. What is left is the corpus luteum, and that degenerates. The ovum, so the egg is going to pop out, as we said, from here, travels through the fallopian tube, and then finds a home in the uterus. The corpus luteum is still in the ovary, doesn't go anywhere because, this stays. It's just the egg that ruptures. It's going to make plop, and that's it. And it's the egg travels, not the whole thing. So it's going to find a new house, first like it was housed in there, and then, this house is going to get destroyed here. So it needs to find a new home. It's going to find a home in here, unless there is no sperm, then it's going to go out. Yes, so let's say the luteal phase, what's that good for? For maintenance of the uterus lining. But you can't fool your body. If the egg is not fertilized, menstruation's gonna start. So, what is menstruation? For the first 5 days, all 4 hormones are at a pretty constant level as the uterus lining is shed. This is known as the period or menstruation. Then there is the preparation for ovulation. During this time, FSH levels increase, causing an egg to mature in the ovary. Meanwhile, another hormone begins to rise on approximately day 7. Which one? Yes, estrogen. And then it's reaching its peak on day 12. Again, which hormone? Estrogen. This builds the uterus lining, meaning that if the egg is fertilized, it can be embedded in the, where is that? In the uterus. Okay, great. So what increases during that period when we prepare for ovulation? FSH levels and estrogen levels. Very good. Then we have the ovulation. That's on day 14, remember? One hormone begins to fall on day 12. Which one? Estrogen. And then the next stage of the cycle starts. So there are 2 hormones that begin sharply to rise because they're no longer inhibited. Yeah, the 2 hormones are called FSH and LH. They begin to rise. They're no longer inhibited by what hormone? Because it's dropping that hormone. So they're not influenced by that hormone again. Yes, by estrogen. Estrogen is dropping. It cannot influence these 2 anymore. They're having a party, these 2. So that is now peaking on day 14. Sharply, but they are sharply dropping again on day 15. Because why? This releases the egg. Very good. So ovulation takes place. And we don't need FSH and LH anymore afterwards. Why not? Yes, because we don't need to produce another egg or make ovulation happen. So LH is important for the ovulation. We don't need another ovulation. We already had ovulation, so that's it. And the FSH is simulating an egg. Do we need another egg? No, we already have an egg. We're perfectly happy with that one egg, We've put lots of energy into that egg. We don't need these 2 hormones anymore. So they're out of the story. Good. So which 2 hormones are not at all present in the luteal phase? FSH and LH. Very well done. Now, in the second phase, in the luteal phase, maintenance of the uterus lining, after this egg is released, which 2 hormones fall back to their original levels? Yes, LH and FSH. They don't have anything else to do in this cycle anymore. There is also another hormone that has fallen back to its original level. Yes, estrogen. But it then begins to gradually rise again, but gradually. This is also when another hormone level starts to increase. Yeah, progesterone. This is because, we're here at the end now, this is because they both maintain the uterus lining. And, as we are going, because there's no fertilized egg, do we still need such a really super thick, wonderful house for the egg? I mean, the egg is gone, there's no egg. So we don't need that anymore, So also, I'm sorry, estrogen and progesterone, they're very disappointed. They also go down again. So we're here now again. So this is because they both maintain the uterus lining. We don't need the uterus lining anymore, and therefore both they peak on the day 21. There is also a smaller peak for estrogen on day 12, as you can see. But both of them gradually fall back down to their original level, which they reach on day 28. This is when the whole cycle restarts and the uterus lining is shed. Very good. In the first 5 days. Very good. All right. I think you are amazing. You've done that really well, and I hope that this has given you a better overview of all of the important cycles. And now let's go over to this one again. Let's say we are pregnant. Which 2 hormones are not going to drop after they had their lovely peak? Yes, estrogen and progesterone. Why do they not drop? Yes, because we're not having another menstruation again. No. We want that house, that lovely house that we built in the uterus. We need it. And who's responsible for maintaining the lovely lining of the uterus? Yes, it is progesterone and estrogen. And if that would drop, that would be very fatal for the baby. So we don't want that. We want them to be high when we're pregnant. That's also when we do a pregnancy test. What is high after day 30? Yes, progesterone and estrogen. Very good. If we want to know if we're pregnant, or let's say if we want to know when we ovulate so that we know when to have intercourse, then there is another test that we take. We wouldn't take that on day 30. That would be a little bit silly because ovulation does not happen on day 30. We know that ovulation happens on day 14. Very good. Ideally. And we should see a peak in one particular hormone, LH. Yes, I know this is a little bit, we should go back to the other slide. Don't worry. LH, there's a surge in LH. We definitely know that there is something going to happen. Ovulation is going to happen, and that's why we know next day we have to have, intercourse. If we do not have intercourse, the two levels are going to drop. This is progesterone and estrogen. Perfect. Thanks. So, and now, what about if you take the pill? You know, there is also that. So let's see. Without birth control, you remember we have LH rising, we have the ovulation here, and then it's gonna, we maintain the lining of the uterus here with progesterone and estrogen. So if you take the pill, just for you to know, your progesterone levels are really high the whole time, which means you are going to have, a really well prepared, also estrogen are quite, it's like more or less in the middle, but really high. It's a really nice lining of the uterus, and we are going to build that house for the baby, but we don't want a baby, do we? So the thing is, LH is suppressed. So LH is suppressed, and that means this luteinizing hormone does not, cause ovulation, and it also doesn't cause an egg to fertilize, FSH. That way, there is no ovulation when you take the pill. Suppression of ovulation is not only the contraceptive effect caused by the pill, because if an egg was somehow released, there are also additional mechanisms. So one of these is, for example, the reduced uterus lining tissue as a consequence of resulting less chance for a fertilized egg to be implanted. Okay, so we have progesterone high, we have estrogen high, we have a low LH and low FSH, and we have no ovulation. So this cycle is pretty easy, isn't it?